Today, I want to speak about the developing story between Natasha Akpoti and Senator Godswill Akpabio. It's really funny because it's a clear testament of the cockroach cannot be innocent in the gathering of chickens. How do you expect Natasha Akpoti to gain justice, fairness, when you see misogynism and chauvinism in the National Assembly that is led by Senator Godswill Akpabio? I think that ordinarily, Akpabio should have stepped aside for this whole event to have probably been trashed out. I know Senator Saraki at some point stepped aside when he had some trials like this. Senator Godswill Akpabio has the Senate locked down, and every senator is literally his puppet. Let's even talk about the privilege that some of us are attacking Natasha Akpoti for. We will recall that this is not the first Senate we have. This is about the 10th Senate. Senator David Mark was kind to the women in the Senate during his time. At a point, he tagged Senator Joy Emodi, Joy of the Senate. Women deserve privilege on the floor of the Senate. Take it from me. I don't know and I don't care what the law thinks or says about it. We have barely 4 women in the Senate. Yet they struggle to get their voices heard. They struggle to represent their people. Akpabio's Senate is one that has trampled on the rights of women. Akpabio runs the Senate like a mafia, and every senator is scared of going against Akpabio. It is obvious. We are all talking about rules that guard the operations of the Senate. All of a sudden, we remember that there are rules. But there are also rules of privileges. How come nobody wants to see that this same lady also needs to enjoy such privilege? When Akpabio had similar event, nobody suspended him. The woman petitioned Akpabio, and the next thing we're talking about is that she does not have the right to send the petition signed by her. But we forget that this petition is about somebody's character, on her personality. Let's not deny the fact that abuse happens in every form. And some of us are even mocking her and sharing videos like this.
Sexual harassment, amongst many others. I remember many years ago, there was a particular minister who told me, Natasha, I know you are very intelligent and you'll be quite resourceful, but unfortunately, I cannot have you in my office because you will be a distraction to me. And I was like, how do you mean, sir? He said, I will not be able to close my eyes a day without thinking of having you for myself.
We must understand that abuse is not when you forcibly take somebody and have your way with them. Grabbing a woman's hand when she has not given consent is an abuse. Making certain statements and flirting are all abuses. The kind of things we do and we get away with, and we think culturally it's normal. It's not normal with women. And that's why when some women who are assertive are resistant about the way we treat them, you think they don't know what abuses are? You think they're overreacting? We must agree we have a problem in Africa, and particularly in Nigeria. We abuse women a lot, but we think it is normal, it is fine, the culture has made it so, but that is not the truth. We complain that Senator Natasha is resisting the fact that men try to make passes and advances at her, and it is normal. But I have come to realize something, that if you come from a wealthy family, you come from a privileged background, if you are beautiful, if you're handsome, if you have some sort of resources and wealth, some set of people tend to not like you. It's normal. And I'm not surprised that Natasha falls into that category. She's fine, she's attractive, she is educated, she's assertive, she's somebody who knows what she wants. And she has set that bar this high. So we think everybody should just accept and flow with the rhythm. If other women want to flow with the rhythm, Natasha says she doesn't want it. Suspending Natasha in the next 6 months is trampling on the rights of the people she represents. And what are the things? We're asking Natasha to apologize upon resumption for that humiliating her for the male folks. Respectfully, I'm beginning to have a concern about people from Ebonyi State as well. This is the second senator that makes derogatory statements and dismissive comments with his misogynistic behavior towards women.
The point we are trying to draw home here is that this is a complete falsehood. This is an attempt to discredit the Senate president. And this is not the first time. Just give me some time. This is not the first time this woman is doing this. This is a woman that have accused Yaya Bello of sexual harassment. This is the same woman that have accused the. I'm coming. Allow me to
corroborate
flow.
or probably disprove.
Allow me to flow.
Okay.
This is the same woman that accused Reno Mokri, the former media aide to Jonathan, of sexual harassment. This is a woman I saw in a video yesterday accusing a minister of sexual harassment. Are you the only woman in Nigeria, Senator Natasha, What is wrong with you?
Ooh, your mic.
But Senator Wembley,
okay, 1 second.
This is madness.
Senator Wembley, just because
Nigerian women should rise against it. Let me tell you something.
Yes.
Senator Natasha is spoiling game for Nigerian women trying to enter politics because nobody will vote for a woman. No, I'm telling you.
This senator that is a deputy chief whip or the chief whip that I don't know. I recall many years ago, I and some of my friends had an issue with a senator when we had this special hearing on youth poverty and investments in Nigeria. It was Senator Paulinus Igwe also. And when we were making presentations, he made a derogatory statement about a woman, and he took our intervention and a woman from the uniform also at that time to have him apologize. At a point, he said, if not because we were in the National Assembly, he would have had us arrested. And we said it was never going to happen because he was not empowered to disrespect women. Ebony needs to do better with the kind of men that represent them at the national space. These are chauvinists. These are misogynists. I think women shouldn't have a voice. And it is embarrassing for men to begin to think that it is within their rights to extend opportunities to women to represent other people in national space.
Senator Natasha is spoiling game for Nigerian women trying to enter politics because nobody will vote for a woman. No, I'm telling you.
Employing blackmail to shut Natasha up and trying to accuse women of justifying why women are not empowered to represent because Natasha complained is all signs of idiocy. These men are stuck in the past. These men are refusing to understand that we are trampling on the rights of women. If Natasha has raised issues that needed to be investigated, I think that Akpabio also should have been suspended or should have stepped aside to allow a transparent committee to overlook and come out with facts. But suspending Natasha allows Senator Akpabio to superintend her suspension and throwing her petition out of the window is a clear infringement on her fundamental human rights and abuse on women's rights.
This injustice will not be sustained. The pursuit for justice.
How do you explain and how does the National Assembly, particularly the Senate, make laws that guarantee and protect the girl child today? When the men aided by other women on the floor of the Senate and ex-senators like Senator Florence Itagiwa would come in to defend the manhood of Akpabio, instead of looking at the meat of the matter, Nigeria is being dragged behind. We can't deny the fact that women have played a prominent role in shaping the destiny of Nigeria today. When the men were not found to speak for Nigeria, these women fought for Nigeria. These women fought for the liberation of Africa. These women fought against colonialism and the kind of obnoxious laws that came with it. It is nauseating to see that our senators would support Senator Akpabio. We have potential abusers. We have potential gropers. And these are potential criminals that shouldn't be anywhere close to the red chambers. They threw Natasha out. They kicked her out. Whatever her grievances were does not matter to them. All they care about is how to praise Akpabio, how to make light Natasha's pains, and describe Akpabio as a jovial fellow who plays with everybody. But there should have been limitations to how you play. Akpabio is not a child. Akpabio should know how people play and what the red lines should be. But unfortunately, he does not know that. I expect Senator Abamoru, the minority leader, to have also stepped in at some point. But I didn't see that kind of intervention that I expected from him. So if it was Senator Eyinaya Baribe, I would have seen a robust intervention on the part of the minority leader. But I understand. Abamoru can only be vocal if it's about Governor Hyacinth Alia and his political interest. So I wouldn't also expect so much on the part of the man who should have been representing the minorities on the floor of the Senate. That Senate does not hold anything for Nigeria. That Senate is only doing the bidding of Akpabio and Bola Ahmed Tinubu. That Senate is only venerating the manhood of Akpabio, a man who cannot keep his stain in his trouser. And like I always say, Akpabio will not defend himself. He would rather send out women.
I am supporting Akpabio because he's a Senate president. Number two, he's somebody's husband. He's not looking at Natasha. Natasha is just a senator. He doesn't have time with Natasha. Natasha should free Akpabio. Akpabio is somebody's father. He's a grandfather. He's somebody's husband. He's somebody's son. Natasha should face her husband and leave Akpabio alone. A man is free to look at a woman. That is the end.
And other female senators to come defend him because they are going to eventually enjoy privileges at the expense of Nigerian women. One senator has spoken up. This is the second woman that is speaking up against Akpabio. And we don't think it is the right time for Akpabio to defend himself. I don't know what you think about this, but for me, it's a low blow. I don't want to talk about procedures. I don't want to talk about any rules because the Senate knows what has happened. We will only be enabling these guys without following and asking the right questions. But it is important for us to get to the logical conclusion to know if Natasha was telling the truth or she was lying against Akpabio. But looking at what has happened and the way it has happened, we all know where the truth lies. I'd love to read your comment on this issue, and I'll see you in the next video.